When playing an online game, have you ever participated in a group of other people? If you have, then you should know one thing right away. When you go and play as a group, you should be acting in a way that benefits said group of people. It can't just be all about you. Now, you do have some autonomy, but ideally, you should, however, act in a way that benefits everyone. This is just basic common sense. And yes, I have actually been in a group of people where I've actually had a bad healer or a bad tank. I've been in groups where I've been the bad healer or the bad tank. And in those cases, I've just up and said, look, I'm holding everybody back. Everyone's suffering because of me. I apologize for wiping so many times. I'm going to leave the group, and whoever comes to take my place, wish them luck and hope that they do better than I did. But the point of it is, I understand group participation, okay? And part of being a gamer is to know how to work in a group of people for a common goal. And I don't just mean in dungeon runs like in World of Warcraft. I mean like going out of your way and making an entire suit of armor for some newbie. You know, just stuff that doesn't benefit you directly, but is still good to do anyway because it's the right thing to do. You want to go and help others out so they don't have to struggle like you did. And well, here's what I'm getting at, though. There was this article that went on about, well, should game journalists go and actually be any good at games they're reviewing? And let me put it like this. Going back to the entire group thing, if you are a game reviewer, yes, you should be good at your job. And the reason for that is very simple. Because other people are relying on you to go and give an informed opinion on where their dollars should be spent. You can go and sit and say, well, this is just video games, so what does it matter? And I'm like, okay, well, that's like sitting and saying, well, this is just a movie. What does it matter? Because if you sit down and the movie's trash, you have essentially wasted an hour and a half plus whatever it costs in movie tickets. If it's a video game, you've wasted probably $60 and a lot longer than an hour and a half playing said game. The point is that if you're a reviewer, you don't have to be good at every single game. I'm not good at sports games, okay? I'm not good at racing games. I'm not good at the Dark Souls games, okay? But the point is, there are still some games I'm good at, and I enjoy playing these. And while I understand that my opinion in, say, a football game, the next Madden release, would probably be worthless because that's not the kind of stuff that interests me, so my opinion would be worthless. But if I went and reviewed a JRPG or first-person shooter, my opinion would matter because I'm used to playing said games, and therefore I can actually go ahead and give an informed opinion about it. And also, basically what I'm getting at is that yes, you should be good at it because people are relying on you. If you're going to sit and say, well, it shouldn't matter how bad I am at this, I should be able to go and give a review no matter how crappy I am at it. And I'm like, well, okay, but imagine if this here extended to the rest of the industries in real life. Imagine if you went and bought a house and the inspector arrived and he's like, well, I don't know anything about building a house. They just hired me off of the streets. I know nothing about it. But if I say it's good, then it must be good. So what does it matter? Also, imagine this was the attitude if they went and said, not just in housing, but also in cars. Or, heaven forbid, airplanes. No, stop and think for a moment what would happen. Assuming the planes get off the runway, some of them are probably going to quit in midair, and now you got a bunch of dead people. But hey, just because you don't know anything about building a plane, or how to fly one, or nothing else, that doesn't mean you should be held accountable, when people are relying on you, okay? And I'm just like, well, Yeah. And you can go and sit and say, well, this is a lot more important than video games and everything else. And I'm like, yes, it is. I understand that. We're talking about human life here. But the thing of it is, the point still remains. If you are not qualified to talk about something, then your opinion really don't matter. And keep in mind, I'm talking about as a reviewer. That's all. If you're no good at something, you can still be a gamer, okay? May not care for sports games, but if somebody asked me to go and play one, I'd go and give it my best, see what would happen, and maybe I'd enjoy it, maybe I wouldn't. But the point is, even if I'd be terrible at it, I could still derive enjoyment. So basically the idea is, as a gamer, you don't have to be good at something. But as a game reviewer, where people expect you to know what the hell you're talking about, yes, it matters a lot. Also, and just before I forget, what was the entire issue with bringing up Gamergate? No, seriously, why was Gamergate being brought up? That made about as much sense as saying, oh, this cookie, it's too big for this glass of milk. It's Gamergate's fault! Yeah, it's a non sequitur. It makes no sense. You're blaming something on something that has nothing to do with one another. And also the entire idea that video gamers want people to go and stay outside their little clubhouse. Look, I'm going to admit, there is an expression, get good. And what it means is, if you suck at something, then your two options are to either quit or get better at it. Same thing as I do when playing World of Warcraft. Because when I do that, I realize that the minute that I go ahead and start doing anything, I got to be good enough in order to get to the next level. And if I'm going to be in a PvP event or going through a dungeon, well, I need to be good enough at what I do, or I'm not the only one that suffers. So does everyone else on the team. And to sit and say, well, I don't have to be good. No, you don't. But like I said, if you're going to be doing something and it affects more people than just you, yeah, being good at something kind of helps. And I can understand, we all got to go and suffer through our growing pains to worry about. I understand this. Like the old saying goes, you got to be young and stupid before you're old and wise. And that's very true. When I first pick up a game, I'm going to suck at it. But what happens? I keep at it and I get better. If you're going to go and be a reviewer, then the thing you're reviewing you're not good at, either A, pick up something you are good at, or B, get good at it, and then give your review. This isn't being elitist. It's just expecting people to pull their own weight. If you're doing something that's solo, that affects just you, it doesn't matter if you're good at it or not. But if you're doing something and group effort's involved, yes, it does matter. This shouldn't be that hard to explain.